A car parked on the side of a highway. Keys still inside. No signs of struggle. So what makes someone just disappear? And how does it happen without anyone noticing? That's how some disappearances begin. Not with chaos, but with an absence so clean it almost looks deliberate. And when that person happens to be someone the world knew, someone with a career, a reputation, a life people followed, the silence gets louder. Because the question isn't just where they went. It's how someone can exist so fully and then simply stop. These are not accidents. These are not cases that were solved and quietly filed away. These are the ones that stayed open. The ones where investigators ran out of answers before they ran out of questions. Start with Barbara Newhall Follett. She was 26 years old when she walked out of her home one night and was never seen again. No signs of struggle, no witnesses, no explanation that ever made sense. And what makes this case even stranger is who she used to be. By the time she was 12, Barbara Newhall Follett had already published a novel, a dense, wildly imaginative work called The House Without Windows that earned rave reviews in the New York Times. Critics weren't being polite. They genuinely believed she was the next great American voice. She was 12, but talent doesn't protect you from everything. When her father abandoned the family, everything unraveled. The money disappeared, the writing stopped, and by 16, the girl who had once stunned the literary world was working as a typist, quietly fading into a life no one had imagined for her. Then, in 1939, after an argument with her husband, she walked out the door and vanished. Her husband barely searched for her. Her own mother didn't realize she was missing until 13 years later. And the press didn't hear about it until decades after that. For nearly 30 years, a woman who had once been impossible to ignore simply didn't exist in the world anymore. No body, no trace, and no explanation that has ever truly answered what happened that night. Because some disappearances feel like escape. Barbara's feels like erasure. Then there's Jim Thompson, a disappearance that feels less like an accident and more like something that was meant to happen. In 1967, he went for a simple afternoon walk in the Malaysian highlands. He never came back. No signs of a struggle, no witnesses, no body, not even a trace that could explain how a man like him could just vanish. And that's the part that doesn't make sense. Because Jim Thompson wasn't just another tourist. He was a former intelligence operative, a man trained to survive, to navigate danger, to read situations most people wouldn't even notice. After World War II, he stayed in Southeast Asia and built a business empire, turning Thai silk into a global commodity. By the 1960s, he wasn't just successful, he was connected, deeply connected. He moved in powerful circles, hosted lavish parties, and knew people most others didn't even have access to, which also meant he likely made enemies. Theories came quickly: a tiger attack, a kidnapping, a CIA operation that went wrong, or one that went exactly as planned. But none of them were ever proven. Search teams found nothing. The jungle gave nothing back. And whatever Jim Thompson knew disappeared with him. And then there's a case that makes even less sense, because nothing about it feels dramatic. And yet, everything about it is unsettling. In 1974, Connie Converse packed her car, wrote a few letters to the people closest to her, and told them she was starting over somewhere new. She drove away and was never seen again. No evidence of a crime. No confirmed sightings, no explanation that ever held. And what makes it harder to understand is who she was before she disappeared. Back in the early 1950s, Connie had been quietly recording music in her apartment. Intimate, haunting songs that felt almost too personal to be performance. But no one was really listening. She played for small groups of friends, never broke through, and slowly convinced herself she had failed at the one thing that mattered most to her. So, in 1961, she stopped, completely. More than a decade later, she decided to leave everything behind, and then she was gone. And here's the part that makes this case almost impossible to forget. And then, in 2009, 35 years after she disappeared, a collection of her recordings was finally released. The album was called How Sad, How Lovely. Critics called her a pioneer. Some said she might have been the first modern singer-songwriter. Her music was finally heard. Her name finally mattered. But she never knew, because by then, she had already disappeared without a trace. Rico Harris's story feels different, less poetic, more unsettling, because it almost feels like it shouldn't have been possible. In 2014, he left his mother's home in Los Angeles and started driving north towards Seattle. He never made it. His car was later found abandoned outside Sacramento. His backpack and phone were discovered on the roadside nearby. And then, nothing, as if he had stepped out of the world entirely. No confirmed sightings, no explanation, no clear indication of what happened next. And what makes it even harder to process is who Rico Harris was. He was enormous, 6'9", with the kind of presence you don't overlook. Years earlier, he had played for the Harlem Globetrotters. Before that, he'd been one of the most highly recruited college basketball players in the country. He wasn't someone who just disappears unnoticed. But life had shifted. Addiction had slowly unraveled everything he had built, and by 2014, he had lost his job and was trying to start over. That drive to Seattle was supposed to be a reset. Instead, it became the last known trace of him. In the days that followed, multiple people reported seeing a very tall man walking alone along State Route 16. Footprints were found in the sand nearby. For a moment, it seemed like the trail might lead somewhere. It didn't. The Los Angeles Times suggested he may have been picked up as a hitchhiker. After that, nothing. No confirmed sightings, no evidence, no closure. And what stays with you isn't just the disappearance. It's the image of someone that impossible to miss, walking alone on the side of a road, and still, somehow, vanishing. Richie Edwards disappeared in February 1995. He checked out of his hotel in Cardiff and was never seen again. Days later, his car was found abandoned near the Severn Bridge, a place with a dark reputation in Wales, known for people who go there and don't come back. No witnesses, no confirmed sightings, no trace of what happened after that. And that's where the mystery begins, because Richie Edwards wasn't just another musician. He was the lyricist and rhythm guitarist for the Manic Street Preachers, a band that had turned him into a kind of dark icon. He was brilliant, but deeply troubled, known for writing about depression with a level of honesty that felt almost uncomfortable. The kind of honesty that doesn't come from observation, but from experience. Search teams found nothing, no body, no evidence that could explain how he disappeared so completely. In 2008, he was declared legally dead. But without a body, the story never really ended. And that's what makes this case linger. Because the question isn't just what happened to Richie Edwards. It's whether his disappearance was the final thing he ever created. Whether the man who spent years turning pain into words eventually chose to disappear into it. No answer has ever come. And after all this time, it still hasn't. Some of these people disappeared in the middle of completely ordinary moments. An afternoon walk, a drive up the coast, a quiet argument at home. Nothing dramatic, nothing that felt like an ending. And that's what makes it harder to understand. Some of them had every reason to stay. Some of them may have had reasons we'll never fully see. But what links all of these cases isn't chaos. It's the absence of it, the way a life can close like a door, quietly, without leaving anything behind on the other side. Investigators follow every lead until there are no leads left. Families hold on to answers that never come, and over time, the search itself begins to fade. But the question never does. Where did they go? Because some disappearances don't resolve into tragedy. They don't resolve into answers. They just remain open, unfinished, like something missing from the world that never comes back. And maybe that's what makes them so unsettling. Not that something happened, but that whatever did, left no trace of itself behind.